This episode is brought to you by Batiste Dry Shampoo. Whether you're on the go, at the gym, or getting ready for a night out, Batiste has a dry shampoo for you. Refresh with over 10 signature fragrances. Or try Batiste Hint of Color, a tinted dry shampoo that seamlessly blends with your hair. Need an extra boost? Try Batiste Dry Shampoo with added benefits like volumizing, texturizing, and more. Buy Batiste now, in-store or online at your nearest retailer.
77 WABC.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
No, I get by with a little help from my friends.
And stays on the ice. Here's the chance for Messier. He scores! Mark Messier!
Messier's first season on Broadway was worthy of the New York stage. The Rangers captain scored 107 points and earned his second Hart Trophy.
Here's a chance at front belly. Messier scores! Mark Messier! And they're on their feet at the Garden to cheer the captain.
Mark Messier, what could be his last ever NHL game.
Stopped by DeVries, gets it to Kovalov, gets out of the zone to Messier. This is it! Score! Mark Messier is number 2 all-time in scoring in NHL history.
The guarantee, down 3-2 in the 94 Eastern Conference Final against New Jersey. Messier promised the Rangers would win Game 6, and they did, thanks to a third-period hat trick from Messier himself. After finishing off New Jersey, New York beat Vancouver in the final, and Messier became the only player in NHL history to captain 2 different teams to a Stanley Cup.
See, Mess has no idea. He does all these shows. I heard him out with Brian Kilmeade, who follows me on this station a couple of days ago. But Lou Rufino, who used to work with Imus for years, and Mess knew Imus, he plays Ray Charles here and Mess Around. Who else would know how to do that? Mess Around for Mark Messier. You're a genius. We're going to take a little break from the Donald Trump talk last night. I was in the building last night, of course, and talking to Messier when I was in a building where the Islanders won 4 Stanley Cups is something else. And I know right now the Mets are on the way to the playoffs. They're playing great. The Yankees clinched a spot. The Jets play tonight. But the winter sports are right around the corner. And another disappointing finish for the Rangers. We'll get to that. But more importantly, what was not a disappointing finish was 30 years. 30. I just said 30. Was that right? Did I say 30? 30? Yes, 30. 1994. But we're going to party this Saturday to celebrate the 30-year reunion and the anniversary of the Stanley Cup win. Mess is going to be there with Brian Leach, Mike Richter, who may join us tomorrow, Adam Graves, Stefan Matteau, Mike Keenan, all of them at the Woodbridge Brewery. That's at 33 Main Street in Woodbridge, New Jersey. And you can visit HallOfFameSignings.com to learn more. Here he is, the captain, the great number 11, Mark Messier. Mess, good morning, buddy. How are you?
That's quite an intro. I think after listening to all those highlight packages, I'm ready for a comeback.
We can use you. I tell you what, I mean, all kidding aside, because you and I spoke, I'm not sure if you remember, you called in right before one of these big Ranger playoff games, and I said to you, I said, Mess, I need our big guys to step up. I need Panarin. I need Zibanejad. I need Kreider. Kreider had one good period. Otherwise, they didn't do it. So on a serious note, we can use you about now because the Stars don't win for the Rangers, Mess.
Boy, I'll tell you what, it's you never get rid of the feeling that you get come playoff time or certainly training camp. Here we are 30 or 20 years since I've been retired or more. And every fall you get that kind of nervous feeling that training camp's getting ready to go and leaves are falling, but the season's about to begin. So there's always a sense of excitement every year at this time of year. I know the players are excited, and the Rangers, as we know, they've been knocking on the door. So we'll see if they can get over the hump one of these years.
See, that's the issue. You're right. It's exciting, new season. But, you know, and I don't want to be negative because the season hasn't started yet. I'm really here to celebrate you and your great team. And believe me, I was out there, Mess, at 4:30 in the morning on the corner of Broadway and Fulton when you came down with that float. But, you know, we saw Gallant go out there, get 100-plus points, and they disappointed. Last year, they were the best team in hockey all year. and they disappointed. So Ranger fans are at the point now, they're like, what are we going to do? Get 110 points during the regular season, get to the playoffs, and now it looks like, Mark, you know this, there's a difference between being a great regular season player and being a champ. Big difference. And the question is, do these Ranger players have that DNA which makes them champions? Because so far, Mark, the answer is no.
Well, finding the right chemistry on the team, the right pieces that fit together beautifully. I mean, you're right. You have to have a great regular season now just to make the playoffs. But the regular season and playoffs, as we've seen in past years for I don't know how many years, is a completely different game. You need the horsepower in order to play 2 months of playoff hockey under that kind of physical stress and mental, emotional stress. You got to be hardened veterans that can withstand that kind of that drill. It's hard. The Rangers have had great regular seasons. They have played well at times in the playoffs. They got to figure out, really where they were weak, where they, took missteps. What was the problem? Why did they lose? What was hindering them from moving on against some of the teams that, you might think they should be able to beat. But, it's not easy, as we know. I like the Rangers team. They got a lot of great young players. But they got to figure out a way to play better in those moments, especially in the playoffs.
Well, I'll say this. This year they lost to a better team. I'm friends. I know so are you, Mark. We're both good buddies with Vinny Viola. And he's built the right team in Florida because they've got speed, their skilled players can score, and they're tough. And they've been to the Stanley Cup Finals now 2 years in a row. And they beat the Rangers last year and won the Cup this year. So it looks like Vinny and the guys down in Florida, they figured it out. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think you could see the purpose that they had in their game, losing in the finals a year before, Kachuk getting hurt. They came back with, a real purpose to their game, to the season. And it showed. They were on a march to try to win a Stanley Cup at least. They seemed to really come together as a team. And you can see it really clearly, when it gets to the postseason teams that are really galvanized. Both, they got all the components that you need to win a Stanley Cup. They got the goaltending, obviously. They had the leadership. They had the size on defense. They had the guys that could score in key moments. But more importantly in that, they were galvanized as a team, and they're all marching towards that goal together. And you can see teams that have those intangibles, compared to teams that aren't quite there yet. And the Panthers had it. They deserved. They played well. They played well in the key moments. They learned a lot. It wasn't easy putting Edmonton away. When trying to win the fourth game of any playoff series is not easy. And Edmonton were desperate, and Florida finally got themselves righted again in that Game 7, and of course went on to win the Stanley Cup. But those are the things that you're looking for throughout the regular season. It's not so much how many games that you win during the regular season; it's how you're winning those games. Yep. And can you win a game during the regular season that you need to win? Can you buckle down as a team going into it in a tough environment and come out with a win? Those are the things that I look for anyways on a team that, you can win in many different ways, not just with great goaltending and not with just, scoring from one or two guys, but you're actually winning as a team. And those are the kind of the cursors that you're looking for during the regular season.
Bill O'Reilly coming up next. We'll get back to the big Trump rally. I was there last night. We'll also talk to Josh Macchiello in the 9 o'clock hour. He made the movie about Scott Lebedo. Now he's making a documentary about Trump. They're going to show it at Mar-a-Lago next month. But I've got the man on the phone right now, one of my favorite athletes of all time, and one of the greatest athletes of all time, and that is the captain, Mark Messier. So, Mess, on this show, not that long ago, you just brought up Edmonton. And I said to you, I go, Mark, we're looking at a possibility. We could have a Edmonton, New York Stanley Cup Finals. You won a bunch of Stanley Cups in Edmonton. You won the most famous Stanley Cup here in New York. Who do you root for? And you gave me the right answer. Both, But I think you have said with me before, maybe not the last time, that while you loved your days in Edmonton, you and Gretzky and all those great teams, what did you win, 5 Cups? 1994 in New York. that was a moment. It had not been done for 50 years before, and it hasn't been done for 30 years since. When you think about that, how amazing is that?
Well, it just when you're just speaking about it, one cup in 80-some years is incredible. For us to be a part of that championship-winning team, here we are 30 years later, still celebrating it, still talking about it. It was a seminal moment in New York for the Rangers franchise. I think 94 in some ways transcended the game of hockey. It grabbed people's attention that weren't necessarily hockey fans because of the storyline behind it. We inspired many boys and girls at young ages to start to play hockey. So there was a big impact on that championship, and to be a part of it, to understand the Rangers' history, to understand what the team had gone through, and all the great players that had played for the New York Rangers and paved the way for us to have an opportunity. It was incredibly impactful. It was incredibly emotional. And I don't think any of us have ever, taken it for granted. And here we are getting together again after 30 years this weekend to come together and celebrate it again.
Yeah.
It was an incredible moment, and we, like I said, we banded together. We did not crack under the pressure.
No.
We believed in ourselves, and we might not have been the best and most talented team that's ever won a Stanley Cup, but we were as good a team as anybody as far as being a team and what a team meant and how we played together and the respect that we had for each other, and no animosity, no jealousies about positions, and we just wanted to win, and sure enough, we were able to do it.
I wrote 2 books, Mess, and I used to work at WFAN. You knew me then, too. In fact, I think you were with me once at one of these Stephen Aycock's golf tournaments with Imus.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
Remember that?
Many years ago, yeah.
Yes.
Jim Nance was there.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
Very good. Nance did the actual golf call. Very good, Mark. So, but now I moved on to politics. It's fine. But I've written 2 books, and I write about sports in those books. And I'm a Giant fan. I loved our Super Bowls. I'm a Met fan. I loved 86. I'm a Knick fan. Well, it's been a while. But I say, without any hesitation, my favorite championship in New York was yours. Now, look, to be honest, a lot of the guys on that team had rapport already because the Rangers were smart. Neil Smith brought all your friends in from Edmonton. You had Bukaboom, you had Lowe, you had Tikkanen, you had Graves, you had Anderson. I mean, basically, you were the Edmonton Oilers on Broadway. That didn't hurt.
Larry Kudlow here with an urgent warning. Washington is coming for your savings to pay for their spending mistakes. That's why thousands of Americans are shielding their savings with gold. For a free 2024 gold guide that explains everything you need to know, please go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Kudlow or just call 800-621-3908. That's 800-621-3908 for your free gold guide and learn if you qualify for up to $7,500 in free silver now.
Advanced Radiation Centers of New York emphasizes the importance of prostate cancer screening and encourages everyone to schedule their PSA test. Early detection is crucial for survival. ARC is at the forefront with advanced radiation technologies to cure prostate cancer. ARC is the first in the U.S. to perform the BioProtect balloon spacer, which minimizes damage to healthy tissue. Get tested today. For more info, visit advancedradiationcenters.com or you can call them 866-955-4ARC. That's 866-955-4ARC.
Well, that is true. There's no question about it. The guys that we brought in were hardened, grizzled veterans that knew how to win. But they were sprinkled in with amazing young talent like Mike Richter, Brian Leach, Alex Kovalev, Sergei Zubov. Steve Larmer came in from Chicago. And then Stefan Matteau, Greg Gilbert, Mike Hudson. Then we had Sergei Nemchinov, and then of course you bring in guys that have a Stanley Cup pedigree that are there for one reason, is to win and nothing else. It was an incredible mix of players, of talent and hardened, grizzled veterans that knew how to play in the wars for 2 months in the playoffs. And you're looking at our young guys are looking at these guys on a day-to-day basis and seeing the grind that's required in order to win. They were great moves. They were risky moves. In some regard, you could say, we're the President's Trophy winning team, and we made a bunch of moves at the deadline. You could say that was risky to upset the balance of the team. Yeah, it was, but what you have to remember is that those players came in as role players, as fringe players to support the depth of the team. We didn't change the nucleus of the team. No. We didn't change the power play. We didn't change the real core players of the team. These guys came in on the perimeter like McTavish and had a role to play. Hudson had a role to play. Mateau had a role to play. So these guys came in as role players.
True. Yep.
And that's one of the differences sometimes when you look at teams making big deals at the deadline and bringing in players that are part of the nucleus. That takes years and years and years to solidify.
It's a very good point, Esa taking in too. So before we get to the details again about Saturday, one of my favorite Rangers of all time, Mark Messier, never scored a goal. Never poke-checked the puck away. Never made a save. But he's been in that booth for 39 years. And this will be his 40th and final season with the Rangers. I know you know who I'm talking about. How much do you love Sam Rosen? And what do you want to say to Sam, who's listening right now, as he prepares for his last season as the voice of the Rangers?
Well, you know, I developed a rapport with Sam and JD immediately when I came to New York. And it was amazing. They were part of the team. They had, Sam had been around a long time. JD had played. They understood what was happening. Sam had seen a lot. And, we were on a march to win the Stanley Cup for my first year I got there in 91, and they were part of it. One of the best moments that I'll never forget is when they were sitting at the desk at MSG broadcasting the parade and all that was going on, and they picked them up and brought them down in a police squad car, and they partaked in the parade with us.
Awesome.
And that's what it takes in an organization to win. Everybody's got to be on board. And wow, Sam, what a 39 years of bringing the Ranger games into people's living rooms through the radio and TV. I mean, unbelievable career, and the amount of respect that he has from the Ranger fans who will let you know what they think of you.
Oh yeah, quickly.
And the love that they have for him because of his sincerity and his professionalism and how much he cared. Like, Sam cared about the team. Like, he had a job to do and he had to say what he had to say, which gave me more respect. But he cared about the team, and he wanted the team to do well.
Yeah, what a crew you had that year. You had him, you had Marv Albert, you had Howie Rose, the famous Mateau call. My God, what a crew. All right, Saturday, folks, Woodbridge Brewery, 33 Main Street in Woodbridge, New Jersey. This man right here, some would say the greatest New York athlete ever. Right there, Mark Messier, along with Brian Leach, Mike Richter, Adam Graves, Mateau, Keenan, a whole bunch of guys. We're going to celebrate 30 years, on the way out here, certain days it feels like yesterday. Certain days it feels like 50 years. But either way, Mark Messier, thank you for the memories, and thank you really for staying here. I know you do the games on ESPN. You have fun with, what's his name from the Devils? What's his name there? Canadians.
PK Subban.
Yeah, PK Subban. Yeah, you guys have a good time. You do a good job with Steve Levy, but you're still a New Yorker. We appreciate that, Mark.
I'm an adopted son of New York, and I love it. One of the best moves I ever made was deciding to and agreeing to come to New York. And wow, what a 30 years or 35 years it's been. Unbelievable.
We love you, Mark Messier. You have fun on Saturday, and please come back during the regular season. Okay, pal?
Looking forward to it.
My man, Mark Messier right there. Check him out in Woodbridge, New Jersey, coming up this Saturday. What a day that's going to be. That's going to be fun.